What's up, guys? Doing a video today. We're going to be changing the head gasket on this Chrysler 200. So this one has the 2.4 engine on it. So we're just going to jump right into this. So I don't have a way to work and record at the same time, but the first thing you're going to do is take off your air intake. So I already did that before I started the video, but there's just a hose clamp here. There is a bolt right here. And then there's a hose clamp connecting at the bottom here. What I did, I came in with a screwdriver from underneath these hoses, went in at it like that, and unscrewed it, and then it'll pop right off. There's also a hose right here. Just pull that off. So remove your intake first. And then next, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug the coil packs. You just have to pull this little red tab back and it'll pull right off. And then you got 4 10mm bolts, and then those pull right out. So for these fuel injectors, I just got a pick, and right on the red part, you get a little better shot. Just pull up on it with the pick, and there's a clip right there you can press in with the finger right on the top of it, and then you're able to pull it out. And it's the same with these. Didn't need a pick for these. So now that we got those unplugged, I want to remove this whole harness out of the way, put it over to the side. So we're gonna unplug this right here as well. See how's this one work. Seems like you just pull out on that, push down, and then pull it out. I'm trying to do it one-handed, but well, we'll get that one in a second. And then there's one more that goes way down. Let me try and get a light on it and you can see it right down there. It's clipped on to the side, it seems, with, yeah, just a clip. So just unplug that one, undo that clip there, and then we will have a clip here. And looks like there's supposed to be one there, maybe not. And then we can move that whole harness to the side. Okay guys, so that plug I was showing you that went right there, turns out there is one more that branches off of it, and it goes down underneath right in that area, roughly, maybe a little more, yeah, a little more down. I'm touching the connector right now. So it's down in there, and this is what it looks like. So this is how the connector will be by default. Let me see if I can, maybe it won't do it now that it's off, but I have to pull it over to the side. You just have to, your fingernail can get on this, pull it over, and then push down right here, and then you'll be free. This one just pulled out like I said before, and then this bracket connects there, and we should be free. Oh, got one more here on the purge valve solenoid. Looks like we'll pull it back and push it off. It hooks on right here. I rotated it to make it a little easier. You just pull it off of that. And then for this one, you pull back the tab and you actually push on the tab itself. That'll depress it. This is gonna get out of your way now. So now I want to get this out of the way as well, but we can see it has some connectors on it that go way down in there. So since it has to be removed anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start in the exhaust manifold. A million different ways to do this job. This is just how I'm doing it. So we're going to start by taking these 3 bolts off, and then it looks like we got another one right here for this bracket, and another one right there. So it seems like we have 4 or 5 bolts that hold this shield on. So let's remove that. So I got this shield moved over now, so I can now get that oxygen sensor out of the way. If you have a socket for it, you can do that first, of course. These were just 3 nuts, and then it had the 2 bolts right here, and then on that side there. And this was sort of a pain to get off. Well, it was getting caught on here, so I just got a pry bar and just bent it in. Same story over here, bent it in. Except I pried against this sensor, so I'll have to replace that. No big deal on that, but I did break that in the process, so be careful of that. O2 sensor connector is right down in here. Right there, you can see it has a clip on it, and is also pinned into a bracket. So just pull it off that bracket, get that clip, unplug it. So next I broke loose the O2 sensor. I was able to get a wrench coming from this side and loosen it that way. I don't fully recommend that. These are Milwaukee Max Bites, so it didn't slip off, but it did have a ton of resistance. So make sure you have a good wrench if you're going to use an open end for that. And then just twist that sensor on out of there, get it out of this plate, and we'll get it all out of there. This didn't have a locking tab on it, just had to or I guess it would be this part here. It was just a pin, so you just had to press down and pull it out. So I got it unplugged. My other O2 sensor broke off super easily. This one's being a little pain. It feels like it's taking the threads with it. It's got a lot of resistance. So initially I broke it loose, sprayed some PB Blaster in there. If this happens to you, just sort of start to loosen it up and then just tighten it again and sort of go back and just keep working it around. Increase your chances of saving those threads and making sure it comes out smoothly. So it came out good, no issues. Kind of got in the removing parts mode. You definitely don't have to remove this. I was just sort of, going with the flow, but there's going to be bolts on the bottom and we're going to remove this whole pipe, so this can stay on there. Yeah, we got that O2 sensor out, and like I said before, you don't need to do that. Got these soaking in PB Blaster, but now we're going to take a trip to under the vehicle. So I've got it jacked up. There's a pinch weld over there, and you can see this is the bottom of our manifold, and we just have 2 bolts here. So we'll go ahead and remove those. All right, we got those bottom bolts undone. I used a 13mm deep well on impact. I always prefer to do an impact on exhaust related bolts. So now we're going to remove our upper bolts here. So we got 5 on top, 3 on bottom. So let's get all those out of there. All right, I'm going to attempt a video on this one. Hopefully it's not difficult to get out to where you need instructions, but let's see here. No, not at all. Pull straight on out. So I got the bolts off. Those are actually 13mm, and your nuts are going to be 14mm. This was my setup to get them off. Say it's just made it easier because I use impact for it. Just had a 14 swivel on there, but you can do it however you want. I was just able to get into places like that with the extension and like that. So that's what I did, worked for me. And now I'm just going to get a regular smaller impact and get these 14s off. So I got those off, just 14 deep on a smaller impact, got that for me. And one of my studs came out instead of the nut. So these are supposed to just be nuts, but a stud came out. That won't cause any problems. So if that happens to you, don't worry. And now we'll go ahead and pull this out. All right, we got that out of there, so we can go ahead and take off this exhaust manifold gasket. Good time to replace this. And we can start getting the rest of the components to this here harness. So we got one that goes over to our airbox that we can undo the clip and unplug it. It will be on a little connector right there. It's one of these you gotta push over, get off of that, and that's loose. Plug here for the AC. Let's see here, we just how do we get this one? That one pulled off for me. This has definitely been broken before, so I assume there's some sort of mechanism here, but this was broke on mine. Coming down further, it's clipped to the oil dipstick tube. Get that off of there. We have a plug back in here. This one seems like you grab the sides of it, pull it off just like that. Keep going. Free over there. Got a little plug on the engine block. Maybe I can, no, I need a trim tool for that one. Seems like we have a ground down there. A better light on it. Right down in there. If it'll focus. Yep, got a ground right there. And then our last 2 wires are going to be on your AC compressor. You have one right there and one, oh no, one right there. So one final thing on this harness, back here on a stud, it is clipped on there, so get your pry tool and get it off. There's also a plug on the back of the alternator. Pull back this red tab and pull it out. So I got these pushed over to the side. I pulled this hose off to allow them to both get through. Pulled out my coil packs. Now we're going to go around the valve cover and get all the bolts off. See if there's one back there. Yep, this is clipped onto there. So got bolts all around it. So let's take this off as well. And then you have some in the middle. So we'll go ahead and remove all those. So something I forgot to mention, you can see just in the photo here, that black little tab that sticks up that the cover goes on. Get some pliers and grip it, and you turn it counterclockwise, and that actually twists off, and then the line pulls off of that stud. So that's how you get that off. Got the valve cover off, took a decent bit of prying force, but just pry at it and it'll pop loose. So now we're going to get on to removing this. I think we have only 2 bolts on this one, right here, right there. So for this one, you just press on it right here. You can see, and then you pull straight off, and the other bolt is right on top. So this pulls straight off after you do it. Your top bolt's going to be a short one, and your 2 bottom bolts are going to be long ones right here. And for mine, it has a O-ring here and here. They were stuck to the block. I'd recommend you pull those off, put them on your part so you don't lose them. So now we're going to disconnect our evap and fuel line. This one you just push down and pull away. Get that off to the side. Fuel line looks like it's been broke before. This vehicle was worked on before I have. Obviously be careful. Just get some rags, wrap around it. It's under high pressure. You're gonna blow fuel everywhere. So it seems like you'll just push up on that and pull it off. So for getting this off, once you pull that blue tab off, you can rotate it 90 degrees to the left, and you'll see a little a spot on the bottom of the connector that you're looking at, and you push it in and then pull it off. It's kind of just like you do with the evap hose, where you push on that green part. Just rotate it 90 degrees and you can press on the bottom of it pretty easily and then pull it off. When I pulled it off, it wasn't under much pressure. Just dripped a little bit of fuel, but it came off pretty easily for me. All of this off of here. So to start with, let's go ahead and get these big hoses off. Just clamp them, pull them straight off. To make getting this off a little easier, I'm going to remove this first. It's just another coolant pipe. Let's get a little screwdriver, remove that, pull right off, get it out of your way. This is going to spray coolant on everywhere, so watch out for that. And then you just got a bolt right here to get this out of the way, but it goes to this flexible hose, so we can just drape it over the car, get it fully out of the way. So we'll remove that bolt now. So I went ahead and unplugged our coolant temperature sensor, pull back on this red part, push down on the black tab right here, pull it straight out. So I got these hoses off. The top one was extremely stuck on there. I had to get really big channel locks and pull it off, but the bottom I just removed the clamp and it pulled straight off. That one wasn't stuck on there. So we have to remove this bolt right here that keeps this hose connected. This is my setup. It's got a little extension going down with the ratchet, so we'll go ahead and get that off. All right, we got that bracket unbolted. Now we just need to remove 2 more hoses. Got one right through there, flathead screwdriver, hose clamp. That don't look factory though. Looks like that's been replaced, so it could be different for you. And we got this one here, has a C-clamp on it. All right guys, we got those hoses off of there. So what I'm about to show you next is a very important step. So the starter wires are connected to the back of the intake with little pins. So I got the vehicle jacked up on this side. I'm gonna go under here and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so front of the vehicle, you're going to have to remove these 2 bolts here. Those hold your intake down, so you'll take those off. But see, our starter wire is right there, and if you follow it up, this is difficult to record, you can see it there, and you need to follow that wire up, and it is connected with pins to the intake. Mine is not, because it has been previously worked on, but I think I'm pointing the camera right at one where it's connected, and you need to get up in there and disconnect that wire so that when you pull your head up, it does not grab your starter wire. So, yep, just remove those bolts, make sure your wire is free from here, and we'll go from there. All right, so once we have that freed up, we theoretically should be free from everywhere except the difficult part, saving that for last. But we should be free from here. This should be all free, coolant, everything. Your throttle body should have nothing restricting it. You should have, because this will all come up as one piece, your head, your intake, your throttle body, that will all pull up together. So now we're going to start on the hard part. So we're going to go ahead and move our jack over to this side, and I guess we will support the engine and move this mount. So before we move that mount, we're going to get the couple, got 2 bolts here, I believe it's just 2. Let's see. Yeah, probably just 2 that holds in this coolant tank, and we'll just get this whole unit out of the way so that we can remove the rest of this motor mount. So let's go ahead and jack the car up, support our engine, and remove the coolant reservoir. All right, guys, so I got this screenshot here. A couple things that I did not do. The throttle body plug is still plugged in. You need to unplug that. And for the vacuum system, there is another hose right behind the throttle body that you'll need to undo as well. You'll see me do this later in the video as I am removing the head, because I realized that those 2 are still on. But once I got those off, the head was fully free. So if you go ahead and do those now, whenever you pull your head off, everything will be free. But you'll see me do it later in the video as well. We got those bolts out of the reservoir. I got a hose down here, so I'm just going to remove this airbox to make some more room. So you probably can get this mount out. No, this does need to come out. So we'll go ahead and remove this airbox. This has bolts all around it, Phillips, or probably 8mm, 10mm. So let's go ahead and get this piece off. We got our box off. It just had 3 bolts here. And now this piece, pull out the air filter. This piece will straight on out. Pretty violent with it. Just has some push tabs. Okay, we got that piece out. So for now, I'm just going to kind of throw my reservoir in there and make some room for it. Just get this out of the way. So now we can access this motor mount better. Let's move this. So there's a push pin here. Pull that out. We got 2 bolts there, 1 there, and then 3 going to the engine. So let's support our engine and start getting that off. So we got our tire off, got it jacked up. Can't see too much here. Gonna remove this fender well. Just got some pop clips all around it. Got a bolt there, there are a couple of them. Got some going around, so we'll get all of that removed. So we got that out of the way. It had a couple more bolts here, and then it had some pieces of plastic that went around and hooked here, so you had to push it out, pull the whole thing out really easy. So now we got good access to our crank bolt, so we'll be able to get that off easy with an impact. But we're going to go back up top, remove the belt, get some of these pulleys out of the way. But I just wanted to make sure we could get to this easy with an impact. Got the engine mount out of there, got a lot better room to work with. It's an E14 socket, and I just got an extension on an impact for most of them. And then your bolt that's going to be right here on the edge, it's pretty tight, so I had to get a low profile head ratchet and get in there with the socket. Just be careful you don't keep going too far and then get stuck, because you're not able to pull off the bolt. So break it loose and then try and do it by hand. I was able to get it out by hand after it was broke loose. But let's start working on these. Get this belt off. I believe our tensioner is right there, if I'm not mistaken. So we got the belt off of there. It was a 16 millimeter for that. Now we're going on to remove this water pump pulley. I have these low profile sockets from Astro. They fit inside of a 17 millimeter wrench. So that's what I'm using to get on the pulley. And I am holding the pulley and turning my wrench and pushing them opposite of each other to get them to break loose. Normally it's good to use an impact on things like this since it's rotating, but we're not able to fit one in there. So this was my solution. I'm able to grab the pulley and break those free pretty easily. And I'll probably do something similar on these, we'll see. But we'll go ahead and get that one off. Okay guys, got the water pump pulley out of there. Got the tensioner pulley out of there. Remember, these are reverse hand threads, so you turn this to the right to loosen it. So righty loosey on this one, and the one down below it will be regular thread, you know, left to reverse. I might go at it, yeah, I'm gonna go at it from the bottom. It's gonna be easier. So we'll get that one off, and then we will move our crank to top dead center. Got that bottom pulley off. I was able to get a swivel extension on an impact coming through here. I was using one of my stubby sockets though. I don't know if a regular socket will work. So these are great. You'd have to use a wrench. It would be a struggle to get these without some of those and a good wrench. But let's go ahead and move our crank to top dead center. Okay guys, there's a little bracket for this line. Mine did not have a nut on it. I assume it would, but it's just right in here. I'm assuming you can see that. I can't see the phone screen. Oh, now I can. Yep, right there. So just undo that if there is one, push it off, and got a 22 millimeter on here, the ratchet. We got a white dot on our pulley here, and you can see the line right there. We need to turn those until they meet each other. I will show you what it looks like at the end. Okay guys, we now have our engine in top dead center. I think the camera makes it look a little off, but you can see they're lined up. And if you come up from above, you can kind of tell yourself better. There's a, I don't know if it's gonna want to focus. Yep, there we go. There's a mark on the back side and the dowel. So you can, right there, there's a dowel. So that's a lot easier way to tell in my opinion. Also your, right here on the camshaft sprocket, this little divot, not too sure what to call it, will be 90 degrees from the, it'll be straight 90 going up. So that's how you know we're in proper top dead center. All right guys, got another note from the future. So as you can see, the timing mark on my chain is that little tiny orange bit sticking up. I tried to get a picture where you can still see the mark on the sprocket, but in the top left you can see the mark on the sprocket is not lined up with the color on the chain. So this vehicle, I'm assuming, has had a timing chain before. Somebody has been in this front cover, no doubt, and messed with the timing. So yours factory should have the color lined up with the guide on the sprocket. But if it does not, that's also nothing to worry about. We know we're in top dead center because our sprocket is straight up and down. It makes a 90-degree angle from the face of the head straight up in the air. And our pulley down below is lined up. So yours should be lined up, but if you're a weird case like mine and it's not, that's not a problem. It's just whoever did it before didn't really care about using the marks. You know, it's just to make it easier on the user. You don't have to. So we'll go ahead and continue on. Okay guys, we got our pulley off. So this will move some when you impact it off of there. So you can see our dowel's not fully 90 degrees. But since we have our timing pretty close to top dead center, once we get this cover off, we can, or at least loose, we can throw our pulley back on because it's one directional. Twist it a little bit, get it back on fully top dead center. So it will move a little bit. You'll just have to throw the pulley back on. And for me, the pulley pulled right off. No resistance there, but we have a lot of front cover bolts. You can see going on down through here. And there's a couple of metal dowel pins that for alignment. One of them is right down there. There's another bolt as well right below that dowel pin. And I just lost it. Where was it? Let's go take a look from the bottom. Yeah, right here. Other dowel pins right there. Got some other front cover bolts here. Some up through there. And one in the middle there. Could be some more in the middle. Yeah, there's one there. And then we also have some on the bottom underneath this AC compressor. I believe it's the mounting bracket for the AC compressor. Yeah, these bolts, they look like, I mean, well, they obviously have already been loosened. They're not fully tight. I did not do that. So I guess we will finish taking this bracket off of here first. See, we also have a bolt coming in from this side that holds the AC compressor on. So we will remove that bolt there, which this thing would focus better. That bolt there and that one there. So let's start with that first. So I got those 3 bolts out for this bracket, but there's actually one more up in there. This one was a 13 millimeter. I got out with a wrench. And then these are 12 millimeter. And I assume that'll be another 12 millimeter. So we'll get that on out of there. Hey guys, we have that bracket out of there now. And there are 4 bolts along this oil pan that we need to remove. And then we'll start on the bolts that are directly on the front cover. These are 10 millimeter. So I'm starting on these bolts, and I got the first top 2 out, and I noticed they are different lengths. So like the longer one went here, shorter one went on that side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take pictures of everywhere where the bolt went so that I can remember later on. So I'd recommend organize your bolts really well or take some pictures so that you know where they go. Got all the bolts out of our front cover, so we just need to start prying away at it. Be careful with this. It's a little bit on the fragile side. I would just get a small screwdriver, small pry bar, kind of go around it. But the bolts, the smaller ones, these are 10 millimeter. They came out easy. These have some more resistance. This one goes in the middle. It's a 13 millimeter. These were 15. And then these here were 12 millimeter. These were on the bottom. Don't remember where that one went, but that's the sizes. So we'll start prying this front cover off and see how that goes. Got the front cover off. What I did was I got a really thin screwdriver and wedged it in between here and then just hammered it down. And I did that on both sides. And I got a bigger screwdriver and pried it from around there. Just pried it over and then it popped off. Just had to work it. Make sure you put an oil pan under your oil pan because it's going to drip out. So now we're going to get our pulley, put it on the bottom of the crank, get this back to perfect top dead center. And then we're going to remove this right here. All right, so I got my front cover fully broke loose. I've now put it back on so that I can reset the top dead center. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pulley here and we'll be able to throw it back on right here. Okay, we can see it's a little bit past top dead center, so let's move this around. Let's see, let's try it from the top. You can see our marks right there. We're going to line those up, and once we do that, then we will take off the front cover, and I'll show you how to maneuver it out of there. All right, I got it fully back in top dead center. I just had to use both hands to turn that pulley. It's pretty tight. So for your top cover, so I already broke it loose, so it's going to come off easy, but mainly you're just getting it around that little your tensioner sticking out and the crank itself. So that's your main obstacles. Your water pump's in the way a little bit, but not particularly. And one thing I noticed when putting it back on, these guide pins are really tough. I sort of had to hammer it on here. So when you go to reinstall and you have new gasket material on it, I'd clean up those guide pins so that it'll actually slide on easier and you don't, get gasket material everywhere. Let's see if we can, yeah, that wasn't very gentle, but we can just lift it up over that crank. And so you got caught right there. Just lean it back, slide it out, no problems. Yeah, you can see our guide pins have RTV all over them, is why they're sticking so bad. So we'll make sure to clean those up so that it don't happen again. But now we'll start removing this component up here. We just have these bolts along the front and the same ones along the back. All right, we got the VVT off. It was just those black bolts onto both sides. They are a T45. So got it sitting over here. I used some brake clean and cleaning it up. It had a little bit of buildup around in here, some on the tops. So I cleaned that up pretty nice, get it clean for going back in. And now we can actually remove our timing chain. So first we're going to remove our tensioner here. So just take these two bolts off, pull that out, and then we will remove the guides as well. I think there's 3 bolts on this guide and just 1 on this one. So let's start taking that apart. All right, we got those components off. Very easy to do. Whenever you take off your tensioner, it's going to puff out some. So when it clicks out, that's normal. We'll have to adjust that when we put it back on. I had one 13 millimeter for the left guide. It has this, I don't know, just this dowel in it as well. So that's what that one looks like. And then this just has 3 10 millimeter bolts. They have the same sort of thing as well. But now we can get our camshaft sprocket off of there. You need to use an impact for this because you'll mess up your timing if you move it. So just get an impact and just hold your sprocket, make sure it don't go anywhere. And then we'll slide it off and that'll get our timing chain off. All right, I've set up the camera a little bit so you can see me do this one. I got a 15 millimeter on the impact here. Just going to get this in place. We're going to hold this. I'm going to put my fingers through here, just like that. Timing not messed up at all. Went out perfectly. You don't need a strong impact for that whatsoever. Then we can grab it and just wiggle it straight off, lower it to get our chain off, lift it right out. So now we can go ahead and remove our camshaft. We have 2 12 millimeter bolts here, and then these are all 10 millimeter all the way back. Notice these are numbered and have a flow. See, this is E1, E2, E3, E4, all with arrows pointing towards the timing. Do not mix those up. I mean, it's easy to know where they go even if you do mix them up, but just keep those all in order. Make sure you know what's up with those. So let's go ahead and remove this. All right, first we got the 12 millimeter on here. So these are only 2 12 millimeters. Don't do that. Let's see if we can get this up. Set this to the side. Now we'll be using our 10mm. Okay, can go ahead and remove all of these. There's our 1, 2, our 3, and our 4. See, I'm gonna put these over here. And lift up on this. It's got a little RTV around it. It'll come on out. All right. And our camshaft should lift straight out. Just like that. All right, guys, we got our camshaft out of there. Now we can go on to our head bolts. There are 10 of them. And for these, we have to do them in a pattern. So, or it's best to, we're gonna make a cross pattern. We're gonna start in this corner, go to that corner, back to this corner, back to that corner, and then we'll do the same thing but with the bolts over. So this one, this one, this one, to this one, until you get to the middle. So phone fell over there, but we will go ahead and start. So I got a T55 on a I wish I had a 1/2" T55. I don't, but we're on a 1/2" breaker bar. So let's start here and we will start to loosen 90 degrees. All right, that was roughly 90. That one messed me up a little bit. Get it better on this one. It sort of jerked around and didn't feel right at first. We walk around, get a better look on this one. See how we can, all right. So now let's do 90 on this one. There's our 90. And then we'll continue here, here, and do that cross pattern. So we got those all broke loose. You can kind of feel when they truly break loose. So if you don't get a perfect 90, after a couple you can kind of tell what you're doing. It ain't no big deal. But now I just got an impact. We're gonna zip these on out of here in the same pattern. Don't really matter, but I'm gonna follow the same pattern. All right, we got those bolts out of there. We can go ahead and get these little rockers, lifters, whatever out. And then we can remove our head. So I started to lift up on it. My head broke right loose. I'm gonna try and get a video of me getting this thing out of here. This is gonna be a little tough. It's kind of heavy in an awkward spot. So let's see what we can do here. All right, so grab it by the throttle body. Oh, let's see. I did not unplug my throttle body. Make sure you do that. And feels like seems like we are free. We have one vacuum hose back here. We can rip off pretty easy. I believe. Yep, we're good. Alrighty guys, here's our head gasket. As you can see, definitely got some coolant up in there. So, yeah, let me wipe my finger off. It's bleeding after getting that head out. We can take this guy on out of here. Real easy like. And that's it. Clean up your surface, obviously. This is our culprit right here. So we'll go ahead and clean up the surface. I'm going to take the head to a machine shop, get it inspected, and we will go from there. All right, guys, got our cylinder head off. So now we can get our intake off. I have 3 bolts on the top of it, and then underneath it there are 2. One there, one there. Those are 10 millimeters, and there's a bracket bolt that is an 8 millimeter. Then our thermostat housing, looks like it's missing a bolt actually. Strange. Either way, those are going to be 10 millimeter as well. So let's get all of that off. Alrighty, we got the intake off of there. This bolt right here that's way up in there is a real pain to get to. You have to have a wrench with an offset like this so that you can, you turn it this way, get up in there, and then able to turn it out. And what I did was I actually laid flat on my back on the ground, like looking up at it, because it's right there. And then with each hand, I got a finger on each side of it, and then just sort of, you know, counter twisted with my other hand. So that's how I got that one out of there. But go ahead and get these bolts off for the thermostat housing, and that's all for your cylinder head. Well, you have a couple of sensors up here to take off as well, but I'm going to get this thing inspected, resurfaced, and then I'll finish the video on putting it all back together. All right, guys, that's it for the removal. I really hope that this helps some people. You know, make sure to like, comment, do all of that to boost the video so that more people can see this who need it, because I don't do YouTube. I doubt this is going to get recommended very much. So try and boost it up there so people can actually see this video. I'm going to make another one on the reinstallation. It'll be 2 separate videos, but it'll have the installation and the reinstallation in one video. I just want to go ahead and upload this one because it's going to be a few days before I get it back together. Maybe somebody will need this now. So thank you guys for watching. Just like, share, get the video spread around so that it can help some people. I didn't see one on YouTube, so hopefully this will help some people. Thank you.